you guys? This is Gooddeeds, and I'm Dr. Renee Sunday. We're actually hanging out with the NFL Former Players Association. You know, we're ready for the football, the Super Bowl. We're just going to have an awesome time. And guess what we're going to do, because we love you so. We're going to actually bring the event to you. Just awesome wisdom, knowledge that you can apply to your life. You know, I know the young people and all, we spend a lot of money for the Super Bowl. But guess what? These legends from Super Bowl #1, yes, #1, is actually here to give us wisdom and things that I said before that we can apply to our life. So I want you to let your friends know, your family know, and just sit back and enjoy. And you know I love you, love you, love you. This is Gooddeeds, and I'm Dr. Renee Sunday.
We wanted to bring forth this kind of Q&A with the legends of what I call football, the beginning of an era. Marking the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl, we have our first Super Bowl players, which is Solomon Brandon, Kansas City Chief, 1967, Bill Curry, Green Bay Packers, 1967. So welcome them.
All right.
Morning. This is Super Bowl week, but I think we got a reason to have a little celebration here in Atlanta. Not one, but two Atlanta residents who were there on that day and played in the very first Super Bowl 50 years ago. We just saw them shake hands outside. I said, "No, you shaking hands 50 years ago?" And they said, "Yeah, they shook hands 50 years ago." So, and I want to start with both of you gentlemen because they both have history in this area. They both played their college football here in Atlanta. Saul Brandon at Morris Brown and Bill Curry at Georgia Tech. And they've been longtime Atlanta residents. So it's great to have them here, having shared in this experience. I'm going to throw it out to both of you. First of all, thoughts about this week, and that it's been, this is the 50th Super Bowl. When you played the first one, did you think it would be something that would become this great tradition that people watch who are not even football fans, but people watch it? Did you ever think it would be what it has become?
No, and I don't even think the owners and coaches even thought it would get as big as it is now. And Bill will tell you, the winners of the Super Bowl I got 15,000. The losers got 7,500. And now I think the winners get what, about 700?
102,000.
Okay, so you can see the difference in the money. And tickets were $15?
No, there were 8. The cheap seats were $8, and
Yeah.
the big ticket, it was $12.
Yeah, so you can see, and I think the cheapest ticket for Super Bowl 50 is $2,800. So you can see the difference. You could buy a 30-second commercial back then for a few hundred. Now it's up in the thousands. I think a 30-second spot, I heard it on the radio coming over, I think it's something like 60,000 or more, just for 30
What it
seconds.
is now, according to Steve Hummer, who's a terrific writer for the local papers, $167,000 a second for the primetime spots.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and Bill probably feel the same way. The first Super Bowl we would have played if they would have just given us a regular game check, because we never looked at it as a big event. We thought, hey, we represent the AFC and they were representing the NFC, and I said, hey, we want to beat Green Bay to show we on even par, and I'm sure they said, oh, we'll beat them little jokes over for the AFC. So we were playing, just having fun, and that's why I don't think anybody thought the Super Bowl would get to be what it is now.
No, we certainly didn't, but I'll tell you this, when we watched the film and I saw Buck Buchanan play football, I did not think we're going to beat these little guys.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it was going to be a long day, and it was, and we couldn't block him. Jerry Mays, Bobby Lee Bell, same thing. They had a great football team, and when they filled in a few more with the Willie Laniers of this world, and of course Otis Taylor was already there, then in Super Bowl IV they showed everybody how to play football. And we all remember that, those of us that are football people. Kansas City was good enough to have been probably a great team in the first Super Bowl. I think our guys were probably more veterans. They had been in world championship games. Guys like Jimmy Taylor and Kramer and Thurston and Forrest Gregg and all those guys had so much experience and so much confidence. And then sooner or later, somebody like Willie Wood's going to make a big play, because he always did. And that's what happened in the game. I think that I mean, the first half was indicative of the talent on the two squads. It was very even. I got injured and had to go out in the second quarter, and that was the only game that year where I missed a play. But somebody rolled up my ankle on a punt, and I didn't get to finish the job. But Ken Bowman did very well in the second half.
Coach, what can you tell us before the game? I know people talk about coaches' speeches. You guys both had tremendous coaches, Hank Stram for Kansas City and Vince Lombardi, for whom the trophy is named that you get for the Super Bowl now. Thoughts about them and things that he said. Did he have to pull any special strings or push any special buttons to motivate you guys?
Well, Saul played for the real speaker, the talker.
Yeah.
Hank probably had some great stuff.
Yeah, and you know, I think what they were trying to do is not put a lot of pressure on the players that you must win this game. So it was more, hey, this is just another ball game, and let's go out there and play. You know, Hank always felt like he had more sense than any coach out there, and he could put something together to beat you. So, you know, and we really thought that we had a chance to beat Green Bay. And I think I don't know if Bill remember, but we were up 17-3 before the half, and Hank said we can score again. So we ran what we call an 88, which the flanker and split in crawl. And Otis Taylor got free and was running. For some reason, Len Dawson didn't see him. But Willie Woods, like he say, saw him. And if he would have hit Otis, I think we'd have went in and scored and been up 24-3 at halftime. So when Len finally saw him and threw it, Willie Woods picked that ball off and took it back down, and they scored. So instead of being 24-3, it was 17-10. And that made a lot of difference because the guy was in at halftime, Green Bay coming back. I thought, we got him. Just play ball. We got him. So, you know, it's one play can change a ball game. Yeah.
I never heard Vince Lombardi make a pep talk, ever. I don't remember him saying a word during the game or at the half or in the locker room. The 2 weeks prior to the game, he said a lot of words, most of which are not repeatable in mixed companies. I mean, a lot of words. He was all over us. I mean, even more. He used to say things like, if you don't hate me enough, if you don't hate Kansas City enough by Thursday, you're going to hate me so much by Sunday, you're going to want to kill all of them. I guarantee you that. And he was very good. He always kept his word. He just stayed after us, but he was more tense and more intense in that case. And I remember sitting there watching the films, and we thought, okay, we're going to watch these little guys play. And there's Buck Buchanan and Jerry Mays and people like Bobby Lee Bell, and we realized those guys look like Hall of Famers, and they are. They're all in the Hall of Fame. And so this is not going to be an easy game. And plus, they played weird defenses. They played an 8-man front, and nobody in the NFL did that. You can't run the power sweep against that Kansas City stack. You have to audible and throw the ball. And Lombardi hated having to throw the ball. So his pep talk was, we got to throw the football. We hate to do that. Well, Max McGee made that work pretty well because he had a big day, but he was hungover big time, had sneaked out the night before the game, and when Boyd Dowler got hurt and McGee was called into the game, he did not have his helmet on the sideline. He had to borrow a helmet to go in the game. Saul's not going to like hearing this stuff, but that's just the stuff that happened. This is the stuff we remember, not a pep talk by Lombardi. In fact, Lombardi's greatest pep talk ever was in Detroit when they were killing us one day. They had us down 21-3 at the half. And we thought he'd come in, and everybody was, I was a rookie, I was probably crying. He just was brutal with his language and the way he could rip you. And he didn't show up at the half. He never came in. And now it's about 30 seconds. The NFL halftime is only 12 minutes. People don't realize that. It's not very long, but it seemed like an eternity. So he walks in with about 30 seconds to go in the half, and he says, "Men with the Green Bay Packers," and he turned around and walked out. That's all he said. And of course, we ran him out of the stadium in the second half. He would do stuff like that. But I don't remember him doing any sort of pep talk thing. You can hear what he said before the game because they had him wired. And he got us on the sideline and said, well, everybody's going to be watching, and you want to play really well. That was his pep talk. So he was not a pep talk guy. He was a constant burr in the saddle all week long to make you focus on what your assignments were. So by Sunday, you were so happy to get away from him and go out on the field. You played well.
What was your Super Bowl week like as players?
Well, Bill will tell you, it was a lot different. If they had a room, and they would call who they wanted to talk to in that room, and you talk to them. Wasn't a whole lot of fans like it is now. So a lot of guys, they never call to come in that room. So you didn't go through all that pressure. And
It was the linemen. They never called the linemen.
yeah, see, so it was, it was the hype was they wanted to get the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running back. That's who got all the interviews. But it's a lot different now. Like, his prime time for real now. That if you looked at last night, you can tell it's really, really big. Yeah. But in 4 years, I never heard Hank Scram curse. He's the only coach I played for that I never heard curse in 4 years. He just wouldn't, his thing was he would come in and say, "Hey, Otis, I guarantee you I'm dressed sharper than you. My clothes are the best." Nobody paid as much as I did. So Otis said, "Man, you probably got that jacket from the Goodwill." He said, "Man, my shoes cost more than your clothes." But that's the kind of stuff Hank was. He was a real funny guy, Great guy to play for.
Coach Lombardi was not interested in humor. He could occasionally, he would try to say something funny, but what rings in my mind for the weeks prior to that game, it wasn't 1 week, it was 2 weeks between the Dallas game, which was the big game to us, the Cowboys in Dallas, and that was a barn burner. That was a knockdown, drag out, down to the wire. That was a tough football game, and it was almost like a sigh of relief. Now we're going to do this other thing, this Super Bowl, and Coach Lombardi sensed that. I think that's why he was so hard on us. He was afraid that we would take Kansas City lightly. Once we saw the films, we did not take them lightly. They were really good, and we could see that. It was quiet. We were in Santa Barbara, California, and that made him mad. It's too nice you can't get ready to play football in a place like that. Too many women, there's too much surf, there's too much sunshine. And I mean, he was mad about everything. And we realized later that the league was putting heat on him, saying to him, and they did say to him, "You have to win this game." And it was enormous pressure on Coach Lombardi. He did a great job. I mean, he had us ready.
Yeah, and if you notice during the game, none of the players like to get close to Hank Scram because he would roll that program up, and then he'd, "Solomon, it's like stealing. Watch this. Lenny, again, it's like stealing. They can't cover it." He said, "Otis, run it again." Then he said, "Hey, you see the cavity? There's a hole in there. We can run it. We can run it." He said, "Lenny, keep percolating the ball right down the field. We got him. But, he was a funny guy. So everybody would move away from him, and he would walk that sideline with that program, and players would just stop going backwards, trying to run from him. He was a funny guy, though. We loved him, yeah.
I think you could do a one-man on Hank alone for a couple of hours. You got him down.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
The thing I loved about Hank Scram, and I played for Hank Scram, I played for Weeb Eubank, I played for Paul Brown and Joe Smith. And of all them coaches, I guess I was closer to Hank Scram than anybody. Hank would always give you his home phone number and his cell number. And the first thing you do if you call him, he said, "Solomon, what can I do to help you? How the family? Is it anything you need?" He was always like that. And I think every guy that played for him could call him. I'm the last player to talk to him before he died.
Wow.
Because I used to talk to him about once every 2 weeks. Yeah, we had that kind of relationship. Yeah, great guy to play for.
We didn't have a relationship like that with Coach Lombardi, but when I went to Super Bowl III, I was the only player there that had played for Lombardi and Shula. And people could begin to see already that Shula was going to be one of the great coaches, and he is the winningest coach in history now. So naturally, I was interviewed, which is something I wasn't used to, and I was stupid. And I said a lot of stuff about Coach Lombardi because I was angry that he had let me go. He had put me on the expansion list for New Orleans, who had promptly traded me to Baltimore. They were so excited about me. And I was feeling like that I had been embarrassed and I had been disrespected and that I deserved better. I was wrong, because the reason I was put on the list is because I wasn't a very good player, but I didn't want to admit that. So I blamed it on Coach Lombardi and said some things about him I shouldn't have said. And I ended up having to go to his hospital room when he was on his deathbed to apologize to it. And that was the most terrifying speech I ever made. I've written about it to try to explain it, that the great man constantly went on and on about his priorities, your religion, your family, and the Green Bay Packers. And we thought he got confused about the order of the priorities when we went on the practice field, but he didn't. When I walked in that room, and he could have thrown me out, and nobody could have blamed him, he didn't do that. He extended his hand, he allowed me to apologize, and he forgave me when I least deserved it, proving that his priorities really were what he said they were. And it was a privilege to be on the team with him, but it was a constant emotional distress. So you see two great coaches with two entirely different personalities that get similar results, because everybody knows Hank was a great football mind.
I'll ask a couple more things, and we'll turn it over and let you guys ask some questions. As the players were prepared to play this game, knowing what you took away from that experience, you in the first game, you got the chance to experience it 3 times. Sure, they're going to get more money. Sure, that more people are going to see them. But what do you hope that each and every man comes away from this experience with this week?
Well, you know, my thing is, I would tell every player, leave everything you have on the field, because it's not a promise you'll ever get back to another Super Bowl. We can look at teams right now and say, oh, they might be good enough to get to the Super Bowl next year. They may not even get close to the Super Bowl. Like, I look at Cam Newton, and I think Cam Newton got so much upside. But it's no guarantee he'll get back. If you would have took every bet, other than somebody who lived in Charlotte, they never would have bet Carolina would have gotten to the Super Bowl this year, especially when they lost that wide receiver who he thrown all. So, you know, football is funny. You gotta take it just like this may be the last time I get to play in a Super Bowl. So Bill probably feel the same way. You can't say, I wish I had done this, because you may not get back. So that's why you got to leave everything on the field in this game.
I can't do any better than that. That's great coaching from a veteran player. Young players don't understand how fragile this career is and how quickly it can end. I honestly, at some level, I would have not admitted this, but at some level, I thought it would go on and on and on. I mean, I went to Super Bowl 1. Well, my rookie year, we won the World Championship before this game that Solomon and I played in. That was against Cleveland and Green Bay. And then we went to Super Bowl 1, and then I was traded and kind of kicked around the league and went to Super Bowl 3, and then we went to Super Bowl 5. So I was in 4 world title games my first 6 years, and I began to think it's my birthright. This is going to keep happening. And I want you to know that's the last time I've been to a Super Bowl, and I refuse to go unless they invite me to play. So I ain't going. I won't be there ever again. And it's over so fast. And Solomon's exactly right. I can't improve on his message.
I played football since the age of 8, and went on to get a scholarship to University of Wyoming. One of the things I remember is our last practice in high school. Our coach sat us all down, 82 of us. Said only maybe 2 or 3 of you are going to move on, and I was one of the 2 or 3. So, but I remember that scene. I remember that moment, and just it seemed like you just said, it was going to go on forever. Like, we were all good. We won our league. We're all going, to college. Was there anything like that when you guys were coming up in maybe high school or college, that you had a moment where it was questionable? Am I going to go on? Am I going to continue, or what?
Well, it wasn't for me because, you know, my junior year in high school, I got a chance to sign a pro baseball contract. But I wanted to go to college, so I refused to sign it. If you would have asked me, are you going to play pro football? I said, no. But if you would have said, are you going to play pro baseball? I said, yes. You know, I used to tell people, if you wake me up 3 o'clock in the morning, give me a fifth of liquor, and you get the best pitcher, I guarantee you I hit him. My senior year at Morris Brown, I hit 455. So I knew I could play. There was no doubt. But, you know, I only weighed 178 pounds. And in high school, to tell you how, and I don't know if Bill, to tell you how lucky you can get, and that's why I say everything I have, somebody helped me. I wanted to go out for football, so my high school coach said, what do you play? I said, tackle. Well, I figured if I tackle the guys, I'd play. I said, tackle. It's okay. So they put me a defensive tackle. And so the first guy, they put me up against a guy who weighed about 265, and I'm waiting. So I looked up at this guy and said, woo. So the coach said, all right, get to the quarterback. Well, I say to myself, there is no way in the world. If I run into this guy, he gonna knock me out. So the first time, I fake left and got past him and went right. Next time, I fake right, got past him and went left. So I said, this guy probably, so I know he was gonna probably get back. So I just ran over the guy. Coach said, hey man, you a player. I want you on the team. So that guy got to be my buddy, so he protected me. And so I played tackle. But then we had a scrimmage, and we hit a guy, he fumbled the ball, and I picked the ball up, and they couldn't tackle me. Coach said, hey, come here. You're not a tackler, you're a running back. I said, oh, no, I don't want no parts of running. So I said, I'm a tackler. He said, no. So he said, I'll make you a fullback. So he put me at fullback, and I played fullback for a year. Then the next year, he said, man, you're a tailback. So they put me at a tailback. And I had over 100 offers while I was in. In fact, I signed with Ohio State. And we came to Atlanta to play Price High. And I ran 7 touchdowns the first half, and the shortest one was 50-something yards. So the head coach at Morris Brown told my high school coach, say, if I get him to come to Morris Brown, I give every senior a scholarship. So my coach called me in, and he said, Saul, I don't want you to go to Ohio State. I said, why? He said, I said, I don't know anything about Morris Brown. So he said, well, I want you to go. So I said, why? I said, you sent everybody else to Florida A&M. Why you want me to go to Morris Brown? He said, well, the coach said if you will come, every senior that want to come, he'll give a scholarship. He said, look at how many guys you could help. So I said, well, I'll do what you say. And I went to Morris Brown. I will say this. I've never regret going to Morris Brown. Morris Brown made me a man. And so I think that was the right decision because like he told me, he said, if you go to Ohio State, with your temper, you probably end up in jail. So don't go too far from home. He said, you go to Morris Brown. So I did. So, you know, so I guess I was kind of lucky. You know, but I know there's different guys, and Bill, you know, some guys, if you do the right thing, you know, and it's changed. Now it's a lot different. If you make the grades now, you can get a scholarship. Because Bill will tell you, if I come to recruit a guy, and you're a great athlete, and you got a C average, and I look at this guy, and he's not great, but he got an A average, I'm going to want this guy because I'm going to have him for 4 years, probably 5.
I had a C average.
Well, see, yeah. But see, so it changes, and so things are a lot different. Now, Bill can tell you what his experience.
Well, I tell you one thing. If I could have got you at the plate, because I was a pitcher, without the whiskey, I think I could have hit you. I had 2 goals in life when I started at College Park High School, South Fulton County. And Saul and I didn't get to play together, and I'll regret that as long as I live. I'll never understand it, and I'll always resent it. Segregation.
Yep.
I never got it. And I'm sorry for all of the garbage, and we continue to live with the nightmare of prejudice. But we're not here to take our time with that today, but it was important because I had 2 goals in life, and I didn't think about social issues. I wanted to marry Carolyn Newton and pitch for the New York Yankees. Everybody knew Carolyn Newton was the greatest student and the smartest girl in town. She was the most beautiful girl in the world. And I decided in the 6th grade she was going to be my wife. So I went home and I said, Dad, I'm going to marry Carolyn Newton. He said, that is the best idea you've ever had. Is Carolyn aware of your plan? I said, no, she's taller than me. She was 5'2", and I was not. I was a chubby right-handed pitcher for the Braves in the College Park Little League, with every intention of pitching to Yogi Berra one day and marrying Carolyn Newton. That's all I thought about. I did not watch football. I did not like football. I'd never been to a football game. And I show up for day camp, and all the little white boys went to day camp in College Park, Georgia. Just us, of course. And the high school coach runs the day camp. So Bill Badgett, the most intimidating presence in the history of the world, including Vince Lombardi, former Georgia Bulldog, he looks up at me. He weighed about 800 pounds, and he was about 6'3", and he says, Bill Curry, you're going to play football. It wasn't like it was a question. So I'm going into the 8th grade. And at College Park, the good news is, it was grades 8 through 12. That was senior high school. The good news is you were going in with the big boys. The bad news is you were going in with the big boys. So the next thing I knew, I'm standing in a locker room, and they expect me to take my clothes off in front of the rest of the guys. I had never done this in my life. They're going to make fun of me. I was about to cry when the quarterback came over and said, look, just come over here behind it. So we put the nasty equipment on. It's about 100 degrees, and Saul knows about this. No air conditioning, no water, no nothing. Just the smell of the locker room would make you pass out. And the CDC could do years of studies on the cultures that were growing in the locker room. It was so nasty, and I hated it. And they put this stuff on and put this stupid headgear on. I missed the leather headgears by 1 year. My plastic Rydell broke. I would not turn it in because the one they would give you if you turned in your broken helmet was a leather helmet. And the Gipper wore those, and I was not going to wear the leather helmet. So I'm out there, and then they start blowing whistles, and people start running into each other, and they're screaming, and there's profanity, and they're knocking me out, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to quit. I hate this. I am not running around this field. I'm not getting smashed. I'm not getting screamed at anymore. I'm turning this stuff in, and I'm going home.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Gooddeeds, and I'm Dr. Renee Sunday. I know you had an awesome time just hearing the great information that we heard from our awesome 2 legends. I know you did. I actually was super excited that I can apply those things to my life. Now, just remember that we want you to enjoy the game. The Super Bowl is amazing, great halftime show, great ads, the commercials. The thing to remember is you need to walk out your destiny in life. We need each other. That's the main thing that the guys was trying to tell us. And I want you to connect with us. You know how to connect with us, www.reneesunday.com. I love you, love you, love you. See you next time. This is Dr. Renee Sunday, and this is Gooddeeds. See you later. Bye-bye.